Okay? So now that I've talked about the actual information regarding what you can do, let's talk about the research that goes along with this. The research notes are actually a part of your grade, and the reason why is we want you to spend some time researching all the different types of fronts to get a better understanding exactly what they are, how they work, and what they do to change the weather that we currently have or are going to have change over the next day or two, or maybe even in the few days even after that. You'll notice in some weather forecasts they do a 7-day forecast or an 8-day forecast or a 3 or a 5-day, and again giving you some insight as to what the weather is going to do. So what we're going to ask for you to do is to actually take notes, do a little bit of research, and on page 10 through 13, which are 4 pages, you're going to find the different types of fronts. So let me skip ahead here. And starting off with the first one that is listed on page 10. This is taking me a little while to go there. Apologize. Okay. So what you get in here in this space is the different types of weather fronts. So the first would be the cold front, which is on page 10. On the research notes, we're asking you to define what a cold front is, what the symbol is. Do not forget the color. The color is very, very important for doing this. The types of weather conditions that occur just before a front arrives at your city or over your location, the weather conditions during a cold front, so as it's actually going over top of you and or your city in which we're discussing, and then what happens after it passes, once it goes over your city and is now headed off in the direction in which it was headed. So those are the things that we're asking you to research and take some notes on about what actually physically takes place. The same thing for warm fronts here on page 11. And the same thing again on page 12 for stationary fronts, and then on page 13, which is the final page, occluded fronts as well. And the reason again is so that you have a better understanding about what's happening with each of the fronts. So when you go on to discuss in your presentation, in your project, in whatever, however you want to create it, that you have an understanding of what you are talking about as well as your partners, and also you have some speaking points and some information in which you can use to help you put together your actual project or your presentation. Okay, so let me take you back up to the top here, go back to the front page. Come on. Apologize for this, taking a little second or two. Alright, so once we get back to this point here, once you've gone through the actual information, I have provided a site for you. I've created a website that I've posted with this that's called Project Weather Fronts. What that looks like is this. When you're on Project Weather Fronts, you will see it gives you just a brief information and also links to information about cold fronts. And here are 4 links, and I'll continue to add to this as I find resources that are valuable, but at this point these are the most valuable ones that I've found to get you the correct information, as well as just in some cases some really good diagrams as well. So there's occluded, and then right here you have stationary front information as well. Okay, so you can use this site in the links that come with it to take you to sites to talk about cold fronts, for example, and then what happens with them, warm fronts, stationary, occluded, all those different things as well. Okay, so this is just a resource for you to use in your research. I would suggest using these rather than doing your own Google or Yahoo search, just because it will shorten up your time frame in which you are actually spending and doing the research, because I found the sites that I think are pretty useful for you. Alright, so then once you've completed your actual research notes, you're then going to refer to the timeline and how long this should take you, and then once you've done that, you can then start working on your actual project and filming it and putting it together, not only for yours but also with your partners as well. Alright, so the last thing I'll discuss here and just kind of point out to you again is group work defined. And actually there'll be 2 things I'll discuss. So give you an example, if you're working by yourself, you're responsible for all the things that you'll see in the rubrics coming up. And then if you're working in a group of 4, how you split the work amongst the 4 of you. Or if you're working in a group of 2, how you'll split the work between the 2 of you. You'll notice that the timeline that is listed here starts off with day 1 about what it is that you should be doing, and then day 2 all the way down until we hit day 10. Now, the reason why we provided 10 days is because we also have the Michigan Adventure trip that kind of falls during this time as well, and it'll just provide just that extra day or two in case some people fall a little bit behind, or because of illness or whatever else may come of it. But if you were to work on this every single day, you devote a lot of time, every single day in class and even time outside of class, you could be done with this project in 6, maybe 7 days at the most. 10 days is just in case you get hung up, and while you're working with some people, you hit a few snags. So that's why we gave you a 10-day window. But for the most of you, you're going to finish it sooner than 10 days. Alright, and then once you've created your actual project, you'll then submit it. The information how to submit it is located right here on the bottom. And should you have any questions while you're working your way through this actual project, please do not forget to look at your actual rubric, the things that we're looking for you to include. Regarding the cold front, did you explain it, and could you actually demonstrate it in your actual project? The cold front symbol, what it was like before the front came, what it was like during the cold front, and then also what it was like after the front. You'll also notice the grades for your cold front and warm front research, your stationary, and your occluded front research as well. And you'll see the point total for each and every one is 23, 20, and then for a total of 43 for the project on cold fronts, warm fronts, occluded, and stationaries. The point total is the same for each and every single one of those. But nonetheless, you have to use these guides, and if you should have any questions, do not hesitate to find Mr. Fuzak or myself, and we'd be more than willing to help you out with whatever you need. Alright, this should be a lot of fun. Use your creative juices, try something, think outside the box, come up with something. I've already heard people already starting to talk about this, those that are working a little bit ahead, because they've asked if they can start to do some pretty unique things, because they have like G.I. Joe figures or Legos or a lot of different things. So don't hesitate to ask, think outside the box, come up with a great idea. We'll be more than willing to support it. Alright?